Yes guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on my channel. So today we're going to be talking all about street photography, because over the past year it's kind of become apparent to me that despite making numerous street photography POV videos, I've never really sort of sat down with you guys and given you like a step-by-step or like how I go about my street photography. And today that is exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be giving you guys a bunch of really cool street photography tips which hopefully you guys can learn from and implement into your style, and I'd really love to see that. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. Okay, so the first tip is actually really simple, and it literally requires minimal effort, if any, and it actually just relies on you waiting for the optimum conditions. And if you go out during these conditions, you're going to get much better shots because you don't really have to do much work because the conditions will do it for you. So for me personally, the best conditions, I'm going to keep it simple, are when it's raining, snowing, or when it's golden hour, so like sunset or sunrise. So let me explain. So if you guys follow me over on Instagram, then you'll know that I absolutely love shooting in the rain. So why do I love shooting in the rain so much? Well, first of all, you get so much more emotion in your photos. You know, everyone's kind of like frantically trying to get from A to B, and you get more of a story to tell. I think there's much more of a story to tell when it's raining rather than it just being a normal sunny day. Second of all, more often than not, when it rains, you're gonna get really good cloud coverage, meaning that the clouds are gonna act as like a really soft, they're basically like a pro mist where the light is evenly diffused and you're not going to get any harsh shadows or really harsh highlights. So when it comes to editing, this really makes it a lot easier, especially if you're trying to get like some really sort of moody, urban feel type shots. And the final reason why I love shooting in the rain so much is that unlike the other two conditions, snow and golden hour, is that when it rains, the whole floor literally becomes one giant mirror and everything is reflected. So I really think that playing with reflections is a great way of sort of developing on your creativity, and it allows you to add like another dimension to your photos which you couldn't necessarily do when it's sunny. Okay, so leading on from that, you're probably wondering what will happen if you don't have any rain or reflections to play with. Well, one thing that I always try and look out for in street photography is natural reflective surfaces. So things like this wall are a really good example. It leads really nicely up to St. Paul's. And what you can do is you can literally put your camera right up against it and you can pretty much get like a 50-50 reflection shot. And this is something that people don't necessarily always see when they're out in the streets of London or any city really. And it allows you to add a different element to your photography, as it's not something that you typically see when you're out and about on the streets. Okay, so another thing I like to do when I'm out doing street photography is I always bring a water bottle with me, because if you're out and it's not raining and you see a shot where you really think that a reflection would really work with it, having a water bottle is something that I always bring personally, as I think it can really help get you that shot essentially. So I've lined up a shot here with St. Paul's in the background. We've got the leading lines of these double yellow lines here, and what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to create my own puddle all around here. And it doesn't necessarily have to be completely reflective. The main thing is that you get a slight reflection, because that enables you to get something different in your photography. So I'm just going to come down here. I'm going to get as low as possible with reflection as well, especially because you can really sort of get that 50-50 split between the photo. So these are the kind of conditions I was talking about when I said to come out and shoot in the rain. It's literally just started to pour it down, literally in the middle of making this video. So let's go take some photos. Okay, so the next tip. So for me, street photography, I always use two main lenses, and they are always prime lenses. So that is the 35mm from Sigma and the 85mm from Sigma. So these are the two lenses here. They're extremely sharp. And I think with street photography, you have to be really quick and capture moments before they're gone, because you don't have control over them. So with a prime lens, you actually have one less thing to worry about. Like if you have a zoom lens, like when I'm out shooting with a 70-200, having the extra option of zooming in and out kind of is like a distraction almost, because it's one more thing to do. Now if you have a prime lens, the decision is already made, so it's up to you to physically move into the position and get the correct composition. Another great thing with prime lenses is that they have low apertures. So this is a 1.4, which means you can open it up extremely wide, which is really good for low light stuff. you get great bokeh, and the image is just so sharp every time, especially if you nail that focus. So yeah, prime lenses are a must for street photography. And I think if you want to just get like a budget one, the 50mm, I think it's 1.8, is always a really good cheap first lens for prime lenses. So yeah, tip number 3. Okay, so moving on to tip number 4, we're going to be talking about lookup shots. So I remember when I first started photography, I'd always see these amazing lookup shots, and I'd go out and I wouldn't have a lens that was physically wide enough to capture the shot. So I'd go out and I'd be unsatisfied. But one thing I learned quickly when I started doing lookup shots was that you can, instead of just taking one photo, you can more or less take 6 or 7 photos and stitch them together in Lightroom. So I'm going to show you exactly how I do that now. It's really simple. You just want to start at the bottom of your composition, take one photo, move up, another one, another one, another one, another one, another one. You get the point. You've got to make sure that you take them in landscape instead of portrait, because when you merge them together in Lightroom at the end, you're going to get a really cool panoramic shot, and it's going to look sick. Right, okay, so just really quickly, I want to show you how you merge all of the photos together in Lightroom. So once you've got them all imported into your library here, you're going to want to click the first one, and then hold Shift, press the last one, and then you're going to want to right click on that, and then you want to go to Photo Merge, and then click on Panorama. So once that literally will just load up and merge all the photos together, and usually you can play around with the settings however you like, but I like to increase the boundary warp from 0 all the way to 100 so that it fills out the entire composition. And then once it's finished processing, you should end up with a final image which looks something like this. It should be on the end there, and there we have it. The photo is just completely merged together. You can feel free to go through and edit the photo however you like. And yeah, there you go. Okay, so we've come to the final location of the day. As you can see, we're in Westminster in London, and the final tip is going to be using ND filters during your daytime photos. Now, one of the good things about using ND filters for daytime photos is that you can get a really unique look by implementing bus trails within your photos. Now, usually you only see these at nighttime, but if you can use them during the day, I also think that would really level up your photos. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean over here. Okay, so in order to get these shots that I'm talking about, settings wise, you're going to want to use a longer shutter speed. So I'm using a shutter speed of 1.3 seconds. I've got an f-stop of 5.6 and my ISO is set to 50. I also have an ND filter on the front of the camera. It really doesn't matter what ND filter you use, brand wise obviously, but I'm using a 5-stop one. If you can go higher, that's even better. So I've got it set to 5 stops. I'm using manual focus. This is because when a bus does come, because they don't come too frequently, I don't want to have to be mucking around with my focus settings. If I leave it in manual focus, all I have to do is if you press the button, it's on a 2-second timer, and then it will take the shot. Okay, so those are pretty much my 5 tips that I would give you guys for street photography. Seeing as I've been filming this video with Sam, or as you guys may know him as Optical Wonder, I'm going to now ask him what your advice would be for street photographers. So,
okay, so if I was going to say something different to what you said so far, I would say with street photography, try and add subjects into your frame, because if you have just like an empty street or an empty frame, it looks a bit not boring, but there's no story there. When you've got like an ominous subject within the frame, it tells more of a story and it helps, I don't know, tell a better composition of the frame. Is that a good answer for you?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, good.
Well guys, I really hope that you did enjoy this video. I know it was something slightly different to what I usually do. I am looking to kind of branch out a bit with the video ideas that I do. So if you did enjoy this, it would really help me if you did hit subscribe if you're new to my channel. And whilst you're at it, please feel free to drop a like on the video. And with that all said and done guys, I will catch you in the next video.